Oh, you know what? I thought I would be able to do it, guys. I thought I'd come back seamlessly, but we all knew that wasn't going to happen. Welcome back, guys. Yes, I'm here doing a review because you know what? I'm getting back into it. I love talking about this stuff, and I've been doing a little bit like on TikTok about the Acolyte, and I'll post my full review next Tuesday or Wednesday when that comes out, because I just have a lot of thoughts about that show. But today we are talking about A Quiet Place Day 1, the prequel to A Quiet Place Part 1 and 2, starring Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, directed by Michael Sarnowski. I thought it was Sarnowski, but I double-checked. It's on the IMDb right in front of me. This is going to be a spoiler review, guys. Oh, wait, do I have my spoiler text real quick? Let me grab that just so everybody knows. Spoiler alert, guys. I'll put that right there in front of me. Spoilers ahead, guys. I'm not going to jump like right into them, but I'm going to go through most of the plot and some nitpicks I have with the movie and some actual criticisms of the movie. So, Lupita Nyong'o is a terminally ill cancer patient. She's living in a hospice home outside of New York, and one day they take a field trip, and they go to a puppet show, which I find just absolutely brilliant. And she says, I want to grab pizza. I will go to this show if I can grab pizza. Basically, one last time. And of course, you guys know, the aliens invade, the meteors start raining down, and with those meteors come the Death Angels, which Lupita Nyong'o didn't know they were called. And honestly, I didn't really either, because it's never stated in any of the three movies, because they're just like POVs of the survivors, and that's another thing we'll talk about later. But with, pretty soon they discover Lupita Nyong'o gets knocked out, and by the time she comes to, everybody knows that it's sound. That these aliens are blind, they're hunting by sound, and anytime they hear anything, they go absolutely feral and barrel through concrete walls and will just absolutely Ray Lewis blindside you, and you're done. So, Lupita Nyong'o still wants her pizza. She wants to go to a specific place in Harlem, I believe. Patsy's, I think, is the name of the pizza place. And we just don't know why. Along her way, she takes her service cat, Frodo, who is just the absolute best. And she meets Joseph Quinn, who is a law student and is absolutely shell-shocked by absolutely everything going on right now. If you guys hear blinds going on, my cat is also going feral, because she is a Death Angel and she just heard some noise. So basically, it just follows their adventure. Sounds too whimsical, but their trek across New York City, trying not to make any noise. They stop by Lupita Nyong'o's apartment, and Joseph Quinn learns that she was a poet, and she was supposed to only have 2 years. It's been over 2 years now, so that's why she's just kind of counting her days, because it could be at any time. At a certain point, Joseph Quinn has to go get her medicine, and that's a big thing. But that's the plot of the movie. What I want to talk about is that this is the best Quiet Place movie that we've had. I didn't revisit the second one, because the second one I think is half of a good movie. Is it her name Millie, the actress Millie? What's the daughter's name in Quiet Place? It's Cillian Murphy and Millicent Simmons. I was right. Look at me, still retaining some information all these years. Their part of the story is good. Their part of the story is very good. I like that part of the story. They run across kind of the cannibals, or I don't know what there is, but that whole part of like going to find like the island that is a sanctuary is really good, and then using the not cochlear implant, the hearing aid as like the sound. That's great. All the Emily Blunt and Noah Jupe stuff, both very great actors, is kind of pointless, and they just needed to add some extra tension to the other storyline of like, oh, there's a ticking clock over here, they're in trouble. But yeah. And then the first one I did revisit, and while I like it, especially with Day 1, it really, really, really pokes a lot of holes in the first one. And it's not even nitpicks, but just the fact that like the newspaper thing, I talked about this on a TikTok video where it was just like, Day 1, they land in New York City. Like, Quiet Place takes place in upstate New York, granted, many miles away, but I'm assuming, like, New York City's overrun with these things. It's not like a few land in there. Like, there's hundreds of these things. And who's printing papers? I saw a New York Post article. Who is printing New York Post articles? That's all I'm asking. But I absolutely love this movie. I think it is literally easily the best of the trilogy. I know this is a prequel, so there's going to be a third one, so I don't know if you can call this a trilogy, what have you be it. Lupita Nyong'o, I don't want to say she's too good for this movie, but she's too good for this movie, so we're so lucky to have her in this movie, giving the performance that she gives. Her and Joseph Quinn basically doing a silent performance outside of, like, they have a scene in their apartment where it's like thunderstorming, so they, it's kind of like the waterfall scene where like, oh, we can talk normally because the rain is hiding our stuff, which I like those little Easter eggs from the first two movies. But other than that, it's basically a silent performance with like quiet whispers and mouthing a lot of things, and it's so well done. She's so good, and why she isn't a bigger star, like, sometimes Hollywood befuddles me. I was going to say befounds, astounds. Befuddle is the right word. Of how this woman isn't just an A-lister leading her own movies. And I know that's not how Hollywood works, of like, oh, someone's on the title, we're all going to go. But the fact that she's not at least like in an ensemble cast, doing more Oscar bait stuff, like, I don't know. I don't get it. She's so good. Her emotional journey throughout this movie, like forming her own kind of non-nuclear family with Joseph Quinn and Frodo, her cat, is so beautiful. They have so many great moments. We learn, and this is where a spoiler comes in, we learn the reason why she wants to go to this specific place is that her dad used to perform at a jazz club around the corner from it, and they used to get pizza every time he'd perform at this, I think it's called Patsy's, at Patsy's. And the scene where they get to the jazz club, and Joseph Quinn does magic, and if you know anything about me, I am a sucker for magic. Big stage magic, close-up magic. I love me some magic. He performs a magic trick for her while going to get her pizza. Patsy's, unfortunately, is burned down in, the apocalypse, so she's very sad. I didn't know how this scene was going to go. I kind of had an idea. She puts, like, her iPod charging on like a speaker thing, and I thought like, oh, this might be the end of the movie. They might just kind of like play some music and like slow dance as the Death Angels come in around them. But I almost started crying during this scene because it was so powerful. And Joseph Quinn, now I've been gushing about Lupita. Joseph Quinn like holds his own and then some in this, and I absolutely love it. It's such a beautiful, emotional scene. And I'm not saying we didn't get those in the first two. Like, maybe they were missing a little bit in part 2, but definitely in part 1. But it's just so great to see these movies really slow down. And while there's really great action set pieces, there's really great thrilling things in this movie. Joseph Quinn going to get her meds and winding up, thanks to Frodo, in like a Death Angel nest. And we find... And I will say I made a very funny meme, and you guys will thank me for it later, that Killer Clowns from Outer Space and the Death Angels both make humans into cotton candy-like substance. I think they're very different. It's a half joke, but I think that's what they were implying, is that the humans are basically fertilizer for their fungi that the Death Angels eat. And that's a really, really great scene. I don't know how it's kind of like another nitpick of like what's the level of their hearing, because the Alpha Omega Death Angel like comes this close to Joseph Quinn, opens his little ear hole, and he doesn't hear him. And it's like he's breathing, or like his heart beating is right there. I don't know. You hear a shirt tear from 6 blocks away and you're going feral for it, but that, I don't know. It's a nitpick, but, it raises legitimate questions as more of these movies come out, and the more we learn about this stuff, the more questions I have. But I really, really enjoyed this film. It was a really great time at the theater. It was suspenseful. It was heartfelt. There was one kind of cheap jump scare that luckily I saw coming, that I wasn't a big fan of. And honestly, my biggest complaint or criticism about the movie is the song choice at the very end. Great ending to the movie where Lupita kind of hits a bunch of car alarms to distract the Death Angels to let Joseph Quinn get on the boat. like thrilling chase, you know, at the end of the dock, you know, the dad swipes at him, and him and Frodo jump off the dock, and they're saved by Jaimin Hunsu, who's kind of like the connective tissue between part 2 and this. And I was wondering, I was like, I'm glad he's in this movie, because his part in part 2 is one of my favorite actors. It was very thankless. I was like, why? I'm happy you're getting a paycheck and you got a few days on set, but he immediately dies. I was like, what was that for? Bring him back, please. I know he died off screen. I'm hoping they use that horror logic and he's just got like, I've got 2 giant holes on my back, but I'm okay. I hope that happens. But my biggest thing was that I saw it coming. You know, when she plugged the iPod into the speaker, I was like, she's going to play some music and that's how she's going to go out. And I was wondering what song they were going to choose. And I didn't hate it, but I was hoping that, you know, she just said her dad was a jazz musician performing at this small club in Harlem. And for me to play like the most basic, I'm feeling good music, I'm just like, everything we know about this character seems like she would have some more, I don't know, specific taste. Or, you know, she would listen to some of her dad's music. Maybe I thought that's what she was listening to when we learned that. I was like, oh, that's what she's been listening to on her iPod this whole time, is her dad's music. I don't know. I can't remember what instrument he plays. There might be a picture of it that I missed. But I was hoping that it was that. And it'd be like some great, you know, trumpet solo or him on the drums or the bass guitar or something like that. And it was just, I'm feeling good. And I was just like, I mean, it's not a bad thing. And I love the cut, like when the Death Angel lands right behind her. That's the perfect cut. You don't need to see her die. You know exactly what's going to happen. She went out on her own terms. She saved someone doing it. Like, it was just truly an amazing ending. I just didn't like the song choice at the end. If you guys have any other suggestions about what other jazz songs she could have played, please leave it in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Truly, I want to hear. And if you disagree with me, also let me know. But I've been yapping for 12 minutes now, guys. Strong recommend if you haven't seen this movie yet. It came out, was it last weekend or 2 weekends ago? I know I'm really late. I was back home dog sitting for my family, and I haven't done one of these reviews in a long time. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate anyone and everyone that views this video. If you give me a thumbs up, I appreciate it. Thanks so much, guys. I'm going to try and be doing these more. I think I'm pretty much caught up on all the movies in theaters. I know Longlegs and Twisters is coming out this week. I'm going to try and get those reviews up for you. Longlegs, I hear, is insanely creepy. But thank you guys so much for watching. Have a great time. Bye-bye.